Hey there, this is Satoshi Swiss Crypto. Here is where we change your crypto journey. Are you sick of keeping an eye on the market all the time? Thanks to our $1,000 to $100,000 trading challenge, you can trade like a pro without having to sit at your computer all day. It only costs $79 a month. You can instantly copy the trades I make. Sign up for Satoshi Swiss today and step up your crypto game. Let's take over the world of crypto together. To join, click on the first link in the description below. Now let's get to the movie. Hello, my name is Token Trend, and I got up late today because I watched the Georgia-Alabama game last night. Man, it's been a rough morning. In this part of the country, those things can get you to games like Georgia versus Alabama or the SEC title party. There are times when shots are fired and other things like that. Even though I didn't have to deal with shots, this morning is still rough. Zero hedge, is this the Second World War? The Pentagon tells us that commercial ships are being attacked in the Red Sea by warships. Wow, these are really crazy times. The Black Swan business guys have made yet another great video. Pay attention. Cash and liquidity are linked. There isn't enough cash to go around. The system needs more money to be put into it, and as usual, this amount grows exponentially. It can't stay the same. This is why they're growing wars and doing whatever else they need to do to make it look like there's plenty of money. On purpose, they're also taking money out of the system. They're doing great. To put in place a new system, I think they're purposely breaking the old one. This very thing came up when I was talking to a friend this morning, how they're going to try to force people to accept the new system. That makes sense. I believe you are right. This Caitlin Long was on she was with that. I need to remember what it's called. She was on that show called Bitcoin. Anyway, I'll think of what it's called in a minute. Anyway, these are two great clips from her. In one of them, she talks about John Deaton's work in the XRP community. If you look at private non-financial sector debt, it's about $95.80 trillion, right? It's been a while since I looked at the Fed's zone, though. I have no idea what the Federal Reserve's balance sheet is. I haven't paid much attention to it, but in short, it's no longer $95 trillion. So if all of the private sector debt went into default, the Fed would increase the size of its balance sheet to cover it with public sector debt. This would keep the total amount of credit in the economy the same. The Federal Reserve could have a $95 trillion balance sheet, but we're not there yet, okay? The question I ask is one of the most interesting ones: why hasn't the dollar fallen apart yet? And they did scream at the time, so you should be careful. As soon as the US went off, the standard of gold, the dollar fell apart, dollars fell apart, dollars fell apart. And did it happen? Why? Because our ancestors left us a huge balance sheet, and we had an equity finance economy in the US until 1968. To be honest, most of the rest of the world falls in line with the dollar and the US standard, whether they say it or not. Okay, so you know that in the 1950s, your grandfather gave you a Series EE savings bond. Now you're getting your grandparents to co-sign your credit card, right? So, you know, when you turn 18, you go from being given assets to being given debt. So that's what's going on, and it's now part of everyone's capital system. But the loss of real wealth that comes from that is shocking, but it's not obvious, and it's been going on for 50 years. I was born in 1969, so long. And in 1968, the US switched from an economy based on stocks to one based on debt. I've lived my whole life during a time when we've been eating the seed corn, or drawing down the wealth of the United States. This is why some people want it to fall apart. Okay, that was an interesting video. This one is even more interesting. I just finished reading John Deaton's book, which is what this is about. This is an amazing book. The name of it is Food Stamp Warrior. He's the lawyer who got 75 people who own no XRP to agree to be sued by the US government. They stepped in to help the XRP case against the SEC to be 75. No one from around the world decided to be charged with crimes against the US government in that case. It's an amazing story, and I don't agree with John that he quickly stopped using Bitcoin because of problems with scale. That's not what I agree with him about, but she is wrong about that part. I think John holds Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. He seems like a pretty smart guy, and that book was amazing. He grew up in the hood. He was one of only 3 white people in his high school, and he had been on food stamps, come from a very poor family, and known what it was like to be hungry. He pulled himself up by his bootstraps. He didn't even have one. Rich's story is amazing, but he is a fighter, and he is a great example of someone who used their fame for good and got 75,000 people to step in to stop what he calls one of the strangest rights of mandamus ever filed in the US court system. He did it, and it's an amazing story. I think you should read the book. It really kept me interested. It's a crypto-related book because the author is a well-known figure in the field. I don't want to get into the Bitcoin versus XRP debate, but I will say that he did a great study of all of us and his point is well taken. I didn't know what he meant at the time because I wasn't paying attention. He said, "This will have an effect on the whole crypto industry." XRP case, and it turned out that he was right. Because he fought and was a real brass knuckle, you can read about his embarrassing moments in his book. He's a real fighter who served in the US Marines and then became a prosecutor. He said that he was so good as a lawyer that he got tired of it. Then crypto got him out of bed in the morning, but his cases about crypto haven't been making him any money. He did all of those things because he owned XRP. He told them, "Look, the SEC stole from people." That's his path, his point of view. He called XRP a security and had all the platforms delisted because that's what he thought. He wanted to stand up and fight, and thank God he did. Thank God our business has people like that. So cool. That's nice of her to say, but we really wish the rest of the business was on our side. Also, the rest of the business world is still not on our side, and none of them. There are even people like her who will say FK. But I saw this from Freedie, the crypto bad guy. Thanks for that. I really couldn't have said it better. Some venture capitalists, incumbents, the SEC, and work together on ETH to give the Ethereum community time to grow while putting the brakes on Ripple until those responsible are caught. There were a lot of very important things that the SEC said after Henman's speech that made the way for, say, Ether. What does that mean for an XRP? From what I know, it's an XRP. It's a technology answer, so you don't have to use the coin to do business on the platform. Then what does an XRP do? How does it change? In this case, I think XRP is still stuck. We'll have to wait and see if XRP is a security, since there's a link between Ripple the coin and Ripple the company. Do you think there's a chance that some of the coins that were having a hard time because of legal uncertainty might now be seen as goods and be listed on Base? And might get that pop,